Café Anyway. Of course I gotta sing.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
I got to sing at the beginning of every podcast. It's episode. Yes, he's stuttering. 2869.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
2869. Welcome to Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley, the last place on earth, the land of Meritopica. I'm really happy to be here today. It's going to be a podcasting, swimming excursion, Mike excursion, as we sing away.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Sail away, sail away, sail away. Yeah, I went all Enya on ya. Enya on ya. You're welcome.
Mike's
That's right.
Daily
Who can tell
Podcast.
where tomorrow goes?
Yeah.
Where the wind goes? Only time. And I'm looking at my E section. E's. The E's. In Café Anyway, somewhere in podCastro Valley, the last place on earth. And does Mike Matthews have any Enya in his collection? Does a bird have feathers? Does Facebook have a live part of their app? And you can go live on it, which I'm doing on my Mike's Daily Podcast page. Look! Bam! 2 Enya CDs right there. Shepherd Moon. Oh, that's got the great song. This Caribbean blue. Ooh. We were listening to Book of Days. Oh my gosh, there's so many good songs on this. Shepherd Moons is a fantastic song. It was in Northern Exposure in the when Chris in the Morning steals all the light bulbs from all the houses. I just had, in the job that I have, in my full-time job, I work with some interesting folks.
And here's today's podcast picture.
And the podcast picture is not of the interesting folks, but it is of I guess it is of interesting peoples. Because cats make the craziest peoples, we found out watching Bugs Bunny. But yes, because he said that at one point, didn't he? Cats are the craziest peoples. The old Warner Brother days. But yeah, that's Rocky and Patches. See a picture of them at mikesdailypodcast.com. And I work with this guy that laments that that now we have all these LED light bulbs that we can't buy the incandescent bulbs anymore. And he lamented for about an hour in my office about it the other day. I learned a lot. The late great Basil the Boxer, he would have loved to chase after Patches and Rocky. I don't think maybe Patches saw Basil at one point. The late great Basil the Boxer, but because I think Patches has been lurking around the neighborhoods for at least the past 6 or 7 years. So we basically took Patches in about 3 years ago, and have been keeping him in good shape, keeping him healthy, got him his shots and all that. The other Enya album that I have is A Day Without Rain, which features the wonderful song Only Time, which I was singing to you earlier. And that was on my Facebook. I'll probably upload this Facebook Live, so you'll be able to watch it on my Facebook page, facebook.com, and then the handle is Mike's Daily Podcast. Okay. All that being said, people are swimming. Are they swimming? They're trying to. I know a lot of people that swim. It's excellent. Excellent for you. It exercises all the important muscles you need to exercise. The older you get, the better it is. I know someone with Parkinson's. No, it's not Biden. But I know some...
That's legit.
Well, I don't know. Does he have it officially? But yeah, I know somebody who swims that has Parkinson's, and it keeps them in such good shape. Many will have celebrated this summer with a pool party. Too many have not... Hardly anyone has invited me to a pool party lately. It's been eons since I've been invited to a pool party. But 70,000 new residential in-ground pools were installed last year. That, however, is 28,000 fewer than the previous year in 2022, which may say something about how post-COVID people were like, let's get those pools in because it was so difficult to put pools in during COVID. The average retail price of a new in-ground swimming pool has gone up from $43,000 before the pandemic. It has gone up almost twice as much to $74,000 last year, a massive 72% increase. Now there is a reduced demand for private swimming pools. Last month saw more than 100 million people put under heat alerts.
I can't believe, what the hell is this place anyway?
Google searches for swimming pool costs were the lowest they'd been on record. COVID 2020 was peak pool curiosity. Soaring costs mean that for a lot of Americans, getting their own pool remains a mirage. Pool maintenance, by the way, is notoriously expensive, all the add-ons. A diving board, that's $800. Lighting, that nice lighting in the pool, that can be over $1,000, almost $2,000. Then the fence that you want around the pool, that costs about $4,000. And then if you want a slide, that can cost as much as $20,000. All that from Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He is heard on AM 1220 KDOW in the Bay Area weekday mornings. And he's also on Cron TV in the 9 o'clock hour, Monday through Thursday. So, houses without pools or with pools, doesn't matter. The U.S. housing slump has deepened this year. The housing hits a 3-year funk after a disappointing spring season, a gloomy outlook for the summer and fall. The national median sales price rose 5.8% in May.
Anyway.
Here at Café Anyway. Despite the fact that there's a slump going on, the prices rose almost 6% in the month of May from a year earlier. So that means the national median sales price is $419,300. As we go outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in PodCastro Valley, the last place on earth, it's also up 51% from just 5 years ago. In the land of Ameritopica, the last place on earth. With all these topicas. The typical home buyer faces a monthly payment of now $2,785. Sure, that is a whole lot more here in the Bay Area. Rent is a whole lot more in the Bay Area than that amount I just told you. Home shoppers came into 2024 with optimism that mortgage rates would ease. 30-year home loan rates above 7% plus record high home prices forced many would-be home buyers to put their house hunt on hold. And some people have put it on hold indefinitely and continue renting.
Good morning, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, children. Yes, thank you, class. Class. The good news is the number of homes on the market is the most since August of 2022. But the bad news is the supply of homes available for sale nationally remains well below its pre-pandemic levels. The supply of homes for sales across the U.S. was tight. You may remember that just before COVID hit, the supply of home sales across the U.S. was tight. Now, one more thing about homes and real estate and all that stuff. San Francisco's AI boom can't stop real estate slide as office vacancies. They're also reaching a new record high of 34.5%, almost 35% of the office spaces in San Francisco are vacant. They're vacant. Nobody there. You can go and play as much pickleball in those offices. That's what we're going to do. All the empty offices filled with pickleball players and their strong, strong knees. 36% of Americans say they're willing to go into debt to pay for not a house, but for
you ready?
A vacation. The average vacation for one person costs nearly $2,000 per week. And 28% of Americans say they have less than $1,000 in personal possession. We'll say possession. Personal possession of $1,000. Stolen crypto. Perhaps, hopefully they don't have it all in crypto. Stolen crypto doubled to $1.38 billion in the first half of this year. Yes, $1.38 billion. That is more than double than the $657 million that was stolen in the same period the year prior. The largest heist so far this year swiped more than $300 million worth of Bitcoin from the Japanese crypto exchange called DMM Bitcoin. And lastly, TSA has set new single-day records with more than 3 million travelers at airport security. That turns out to checking in 35 passengers per second. So look who's outside a Cafe Anyway. Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, the gift shop supervisor. Wow, all that was fascinating, Mike Matthews. If you're going to go on a flight, you shouldn't take one of my snow globes. Yes, you shouldn't. Because
wow, that's wild.
You know what's wild? Wow, that's wild. Those aren't snow globes. Those are eggs. No, they're not, Mike Matthews. They're snow globes. No, they're eggs. You just drew on them snow globe. It's not an actual snow globe. It's an egg. Mike Matthews, that's impossible. That can't be true. No, because if you shake it, you don't see snow. But if you boil it, it can be quite delicious on some bread with maybe an avocado, a little bit of avocado smeared on, and some seasonings. I don't know what you're talking about, Mike Matthews. Who's Enya? Enya. Oh, the two albums I have. I wish I had the one Orinoco Flow one, Sail Away, but I don't have that one, sadly. Look who else is here. Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer. Mike, all of that stuff was very fascinating that you were covering on today's podcast and very informative. Hopefully the John Deere, the engineer, is okay and that he has lots of incandescent light bulbs.
It's Bison Bentleys. Do you know that?
Hey, this is Bison Bentley. And Mike Matthews has a couple of stories that'll make you want to ask yourself, do you know Dad?
Do you know Dad? Yeah, that one Enya song that was talking about Shepherd Moon was in the Northern Exposure episode, Chris in the Mornings from K-Bear, KBHR, I think it was. He stole all the incandescent light bulbs, any light bulb he can find, fluorescent light, you name it, and he made this huge art piece with it. And he was celebrating the Northern Lights with it, I think. No, he was celebrating something. Light. Oh yeah, he was talking about light. That famous poem, "The Gathering," the fleeting light. Or I'm not a poem rememberer. I'm not a laureate, but I do know that it was a fantastic episode, and the placing of that Enya song was great. Some places that you watch Northern Exposure, they chop out a lot of the big songs that they had taken from other artists because the people that made Northern Exposure for syndication did not want to pay those extra fees to make sure that they were okay with all the copyrighted material and everything. They did not pay. So on some rebroadcasts of the episodes, you miss out on some very pivotal, important music.
Do you have any safe spaces?
Safe spaces?
Yes, where people can go to get away from the colonialist mentality. As long as there's a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, we'll be fine.
I'm sure Sicily, Alaska is a safe place. But at any rate, so they did, however, get the rights for that Enya song, and there was a great Pretender song called Hymn to Her that they used at the end of another episode that had to do with having babies, giving birth, that kind of thing, the importance of motherhood. That's such a great episode, such a great show, I mean. Northern Exposure. Okay, that's all I wanted to cover on today's podcast. If you would like to call in and add to the show in some way, here's the phone number.
Call Mike at the Café Anyway hotline. Area code 510-228-5255. 4640.
And with more ways to reach me, we go to the mainframe and hear from A-Frame about all the fantastic places and things you need to know about Mike's Daily Podcast.
That's enough. Put down the mic.
Thank you for listening.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!